TV taught me how to dream.
"2010, tell me what it was like sitting across from LeBron James during the decision, from your point of view."
It was the most unique moment I've had probably in my career. Here was the star of the NBA announcing to the league and the world his intentions, and I didn't know the answer to the question. I didn't want to know the answer to the question, and he was doing this. It was like having a press conference with only one person being able to ask the questions, and that was me, for this a show to give millions upon millions of dollars to the Boys and Girls Clubs that would help change and affect the lives for the better of thousands of kids, and be able to find out where exactly LeBron was going to be playing, whether he would be staying or going elsewhere. So it was really unique. Nothing like that had ever occurred before. And might I say, nothing like that probably will ever occur again.
No, absolutely. He took a lot of heat, I guess, for the way it was done, kind of an all eyes on me situation. And whether you like the way he made it happen or not, what I took away from it was player empowerment. He showed people, for like superstars in particular, for the first time, like, this is your career. Like, do what you want to do with your career. Now, like you said, you may not have agreed with the vehicle in which he did it, but at the end of the day, what I took away from it, and you've seen the ripple effect since, as if you're a superstar, like, these teams aren't loyal, at the end of the day, aren't loyal to you. And the second you can't perform from them, they're going to cut you, trade you, or waive you. Like, take your career and your future and your plan in your own hands. And I always had a lot of respect and admiration for him when he did that day, because 10 years later, you've seen a whole new landscape of the NBA because of the decision.
That's exactly.
Even today, look, James Harden holding out. So,
You hit it exactly right, Matt. And Jack's exactly right. And in the rearview mirror now, 10 years, but it was the beginning of player empowerment. And I say that in Talking to Goats in the book, that this was the Curt Flood moment for not only basketball players, but for players really in every sport. Of course, Curt Flood, all those years ago, challenged the reserve clause. And it was a very difficult road for him, but he paved the way for you guys. He paved the way for all athletes to be able to have the ability to be free, okay? And he was doing it for baseball. Right. Well, what LeBron James did here was not only the beginning of player empowerment and the ability to bring super teams together. We had super teams before, but it was the organizations who had put them together. It was the organizations who had manipulated it. It was not because a certain player decided he wanted to go play with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh together, that he did on his own volition. Right. It was because the organizations were able to manipulate the system and bring folks together. Or the draft worked out that David Robinson was hurt very badly one year, and they were able to get the draft pick, which turned into Tim Duncan. Well, that was more, a quirk of fate than it was any planning. There was no planning in that. It happened. It happened because one guy who was the best player, or one of the best players, David Robinson, got hurt. And I understand that we have Kevin Garnett and what happened in Boston. I get all that. But what LeBron James did, it not only was player empowerment of deciding where you were going to go, how you were going to go, and when you were going to go, it also was really the advent and the birth of this social media blossoming and boom, okay? Now everybody, that night, when he took that hour from ESPN and gave the money to charity, is how athletes then decided they were going to communicate without the vehicle of the PR department or without David Stern and the NBA having the ability to have the approval. He did it on his own, and he took all of the risk, and he ultimately now got all of that reward. But they made him into a villain, and the guy's never been a villain. What can you villainize about a guy who's won 4 championships? What can you villainize about a guy who's been to, 10 NBA finals? What can you villainize about a guy who's built a school, who stands up for social justice, who gets people to go out and vote, who basically has done everything right everything right in public, okay? So now all of a sudden he had a television show to announce that he decided he wanted to go play basketball someplace else, and everybody, and I understand we could have been better. We could have done better. We could have been more sensitive to the fans in Cleveland who were deeply hurt by the best player in the league and a hometown hero from just outside in Akron leaving their team. So we could have handled that a little bit more sensitively, all of us. And you know, there are certain aspects of the show, obviously, that had quirks and flaws. But look at social media now, and look at not only that, but the Players Tribune and how you guys in all of sports now communicate with the public. You guys are now media guys. You're moguls. You have your own platforms. Okay? Well, that really started. That was the commencement of it. Okay? And I think that all athletes owe a tremendous debt of gratitude to LeBron for what he had to go through to give them a better place. We now spend the majority of the year talking more about where is Kevin Garnett going to play before he even wins a championship next year. Where will Kawhi Leonard end up before he's even completed the task where he is? Where is he going next year? Now look at, and some of this, not all of it's for the good, but I would say a high percentile is very much for the good, and they owe all of that to LeBron.